So Channing, those 3 people were actually shot at the apartment complex right behind me here at Bowdish and 40th, but police are investigating 3 different scenes, all connected to this same shooting. So they were able to tell us what they think so far, kind of preliminary information led up to this shooting. They say at about 12:30 last night, so about 30 minutes after midnight, a couple people called 911 saying they heard an argument and then they heard gunshots. When police got here, they found 2 adult men had been shot. They ended up with not life-threatening injuries. And then a teenage man also ended up shot, but with life-threatening injuries. All 3 of those people did go to the hospital. Mark Whitney, Daniel Howard has been on trial since March 4th, and the jury started their deliberations just this morning. They ultimately came to the decision that Howard is guilty of second-degree murder. They say here in Idaho that is punishable by up to life in prison. They just came to this decision about 20 minutes ago. Take a listen. It has now been more than 3 years since that day that we now have the verdict in this. Again, this is punishable by up to life in prison, but we just spoke with the prosecuting attorneys. They said at this point they have not decided how long they're going to ask the judge to sentence Howard for. The road here still closed, Highway 2 in both directions, and Spokane Police Department is who's investigating this crash. WSP, Washington State Patrol, is who ultimately said that this crash is fatal, but we can't actually see the crash from where we're at this point. So take a look behind me here. You can see the roadblock. You can see cars detouring off of Highway 2. Again, Highway 2 closed in both directions, like you mentioned, between Flint and Spotted Road. Just for some perspective, that's between Longhorn Barbecue and where you get off to take the exit for the Spokane International Airport. Council President Betsy Wilkerson said this is not a new problem. It's actually a hole the city's been falling into for years. Now, she says digging ourselves out is likely going to hurt. When it comes to money decisions, Council President Betsy Wilkerson says it's all about information.
Knowledge is power.
Sometimes, she says, Council didn't know enough info.
Some was good information, some was misinformation, some was incomplete information.
Yet, they still had to make a decision.
We're elected, but none of us on councils are CPAs. So we really do need the help. It's $1 billion budget.
$1 billion budget that's now $50 million in the hole.
And with all the other crises, we just had to band-aid that until we got here.
All those patches and decisions aren't necessarily recent.
Over the last 8 years, we've kept everything under like 2.9%.
Then, as we all know, inflation skyrocketed.
We should have been reviewing those and doing some better forecasting of inflations and true cost of services.
Passed aside, though, we're here now, and the information Council has says this won't be an easy fix.
I think some days our hair is on fire, and we'll just have to put it out and come back to the table.
Some of the options: furloughs for city employees, not giving city workers cost of living adjustments, renegotiating contracts, not hiring open positions, finding new suppliers, and the big one, asking voters to pass a new levy.
We're going to have to share the success and the pain.
So once we get back on track, how do we keep this from happening again?
When we start doing projections, they have to be real projections of inflation and what it's really going to cost to deliver these services.
Making sure the council has correct information before making any future decisions. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, Crime 2 News.